It's terrific to join a wonderful group like this one, good thinkers, thoughtful actors, some who are also wonderful friends like John Isaacson, Paul Chernoff, and Jim Eisenberg, an absolutely critical actor and force in the reforms we mounted in Massachusetts in the early 1970s. What I want to do today is to share with you a few ideas and questions that we should think about as we discuss how to move forward. Criminal justice is a fundamentally important field in the American adventure in democracy and self-government. First of all, every citizen feels that he or she is an expert in it. It deals with what it means to be a citizen in a democracy. It deals with law breaking. It involves all the key ideas of what standards individuals should be held to and what is society's responsibility to protect its members and to deal fairly, firmly, and constructively with offenders. When I was 30 years old, I was asked by a wonderful and progressive governor of your state, Frank Sargent, a Republican, to be his and the state's first Secretary of Human Services. And at that time, that meant that the Corrections Department reported to me. So like many of you, I have seen active duty in criminal justice reform, particularly the corrections, incarceration, rehabilitation part of it. Unlike most of you, I am now nearing the end of my years on this planet. I'm 82. But the conditions and the early tremors we are experiencing suggest we may once more be entering a period when serious change in those criminal justice systems may be possible. And in that spirit, I am not here to tell you what to do or how to do it. It's your at bat now, not mine. The attempt I was part of had some successes, but it ended, I would say, more in failure than in lasting positive change. My job is to encourage and support your emerging new effort. And as part of that, I will raise a few questions and ideas I think your effort might usefully consider. But I do that understanding that you must be the ones to decide which of these concerns make sense to pursue and which do not. Point one, most policies and decisions involving the corrections dimension of criminal justice are made at the state level in our federal system. And there is a good chance that the present divisions that characterize the federal legislative branch today will mean our Congress is not likely to be a productive center of useful reform. So let's make the primary focus of the next wave of reform the state and local levels from the beginning. Point two, I believe you will need what I call a generational strategy, which is something I recommend to the foundations I advise. When I was growing up and when I first entered public service, there were two generations, the older one and the younger one. And a generation lasted about 25 years in terms of their influence, the prevalence of their ideas, and so on. Today, there are 4 or 5 different generations on the field at the same time with different ideas, different objectives, and different styles. And the useful period of a generation's influence is more like 8 to 10 years. To be effective today, you must understand their differing outlooks, their distinct values and objectives. And because their influence grows and becomes important and then fades relatively quickly compared to the rhythms of the past, you need to build a big role in your reform movement for these younger generations who are moving toward their period of primacy but are not in it yet. Last and possibly most important, point 3, claim and define the narrative. Avoid the artificial polarization of the issue into softies versus tough realists. Maybe call the program Earning Your Way Back, something that indicates from its name and its first words that a lot is expected of each individual and that each participant must exhibit the discipline to change the pattern of their life. Make clear that the greatest danger is the sudden return of incarcerees to society with no bridge system of interim discipline steps to get ready for the real world. On that note, I thank you for listening, but more importantly, for thinking about how to unlock the next period of positive reform in an area that desperately needs it. Now the job of myself and others who have had their turn at bat is to follow you and support you. I am ready.